husband just asked me the question why I love to do what I do and what was it that made me fall in love with what I'm doing. And he was asking if it was because of what I experienced after I left the church. And as I thought about it, I realized that no, it is not my experience of leaving the church. It's actually when I lived in California. I was 19 years old and I was trying so hard. I lived with a Nigerian family. And this is Moji. She was the mother of the family and she invited me, a stranger, to live with them. At the time, I had just broken up with a really toxic boyfriend and I was trying to reclaim my life. And I felt forever that I was as bad as a murderer because of being raped and going through sexual abuse. And I left home and I was living with this family in California. And so I was a stranger living with strangers, and it's very difficult for me. And I wanted to be good enough. I wanted to be good enough for my family and my siblings. So I was trying so hard to progress in the world as, financially. I was trying to progress in the world spiritually and emotionally and everything. I just wanted to be better so I could leave a path for them to follow. It was a challenge for me every single day to overcome the weight and the burden of the belief that I held that I was as bad as a murderer. And I was trying so hard. I remember I was a cashier at a grocery store and I wanted everyone to feel so happy and so loved as they came through my line because I was trying to make up for me being a bad person. This is also why it was so important for me to be this amazing, successful big sister, because I was trying to make up for being not bad of a person. Looking back on this time in my life now, I can see that I was fighting severe depression and that I was fighting for my life. And one day I walked home from work and I was so crushed inside in my spirit that I fell on my knees and I asked God to forgive me for being as bad as a murderer, to forgive me for all the mistakes that I had made, and to please make me whole because I felt so bad about myself. And it was like this, it was such an incredible experience that I had after that. It was like this waterfall of love. It was love. It was pure, unconditional love for me that fell over my whole being. And I knew, I can't even describe it. I can't. And I knew in that moment, though, that I was loved and that I was supported, that I was always good enough, and that I was worthy. The unfortunate part about this story is I took this beautiful experience of divine love and I tried to apply it in my 3D world to make sense. And the only place I could find, in my understanding, the only place I could find the higher power or God, it was the church. And so I went to church and in an effort to try to pay back this beautiful divine love, I went to church and I dedicated my life to the church. And but in every space that I was in within the church, I testified. I told people of divine love, and that is with them always. That we're always good enough. In every moment, in every meeting, in every calling, I always sought out those who were struggling the most to know their worth, and I spoke to them. I spoke to their hearts. I held their hearts. This is where the passion that I have to help those who are struggling and to help those rediscover their worth was born. And now, after having left the church, realizing that that is not where divine love resides, I have left the church. And the reason I continue to teach and talk about divine love and about the worth of souls is because I know that we all have worth, regardless of what anyone says. It doesn't matter if we're in the church or outside of the church. We all are equally loved. We are all equally worthy. We all have beautiful purpose. Love is where we come from, who we are, and what we return to.